So, the very, very predictable thing happened last night. Burnley 0, Leeds United 0. But, and this is the main point of the video, it was quickly followed by some unpredictability as Daniel Farke made a pretty big hint on transfers that something might be going on very, very soon. So in this video, I'm going to quickly do a little bit of chat on the Burnley match. Don't worry, it'll be like 1 or 2 minutes and then we'll be through it. And then we'll get into what Farke's hint was and what it could potentially mean for the remainder of the window at Leeds United. Quite an interesting one for me. And I'm going to start with a quick chat on the Burnley match just to get that out of the way because, let's be honest, it was a bit drab. So I managed to watch the first 25 minutes before I started playing at 7-a-side, and I managed to watch the last 20 minutes after I played at 7-a-side. And good fucking God, that was an uninteresting game of football at points. But there were a couple of fairly interesting notes from it. The first up is we got a few potential Peru concerns. What we did a lot of the time was flash balls across the box and hope that someone got on the end of it, and the number of times Peru wouldn't be anticipating something, wouldn't be in the right area, wouldn't be making the move that we need to score that goal was growing. And it seems to be growing week to week, and he seems to be getting more into that hybrid 9-10 thing again, rather than the pure number 9 thing that he previously has been this season when he was actually scoring the goals. And this is not good for us, because we need him in those dangerous areas, especially against a side like Burnley, who are going to restrict the chances you create. On the result itself, I'm not going to be too mad. I said in advance of it that I could probably see it being a draw, and I wouldn't be too annoyed, because we've drawn against a team that hasn't lost at home all season, and has been increasingly looking fairly reasonable when they're going forward. We managed to shut them out. Fantastic. We managed to limit them to, I think no shots on target, which is kind of ridiculous when you look at the fact they're third in the league. And in addition to that, the final note on the match itself, Scott Parker is a lying prick. At the end of it, he came out of his press conference saying, yeah, we wanted to win that game. No, you didn't. Come on. Let's be real. You don't play like that. If you want to win a game of football, you didn't in the slightest. There is a reason, even dealing with your stupid defensive crap, we still managed to get 8 shots. You got 4. Come on. I feel like Burnley will struggle to get promoted if they keep playing like that. But let's avoid the misery bits, the Burnley-flavoured bits, and talk specifically on the Daniel Farke stuff. Because he left a little bit of a hint in the post-match press conference that I think could be of interest to us fairly significantly. And I'll talk about some of the ongoing links that we've got with players that sort of could have something to do with this. So he specifically asked about prospective transfers and if we can expect some news, and he started by saying he's not checked his phone for the last 6 hours, which is fair enough. It's a match day. 2 of those hours are the match itself. The hour before that is warm-ups. And then you got travel, you got management, you got meetings with people. But he did interestingly say, perhaps I can tell you more in the next press conference. This has a couple of little implications to me. And I know that I'm the kind of person that reads into things quite a lot, but I think I'm reading things that actually exist in this case, rather than overly reading, because noting that he's not checked his phone for the last 6 hours, putting that relatively short duration of time on it, indicates that things are potentially moving relatively quickly. If he's in the place where he can't give an answer because he's not checked his phone in 6 hours, that tells me that a Marathe or whoever else is working in recruitment right now, it's completely slipped my mind, is potentially having conversations with prospective signings and saying, cool, we'll get back to Daniel Farke, see if he wants to go forward with it. Because that's what happens at the late stage of a window. What happens at the late stage of a window is, in all likelihood, on the weekend, you're not going to do anything because the players you want to sign will be in matchday squads, will be with their club. And let's be honest, clubs don't want to be having those negotiations when they're on the pitch. Meanwhile, the next day, the Monday, that makes complete sense to me. And this is definitely going to be true in the last week of the window because, as we found out with the Gakpo, Dieng, Nonto thing, you can turn 1 deal into 2 deals into 3 deals, with 2 of them getting cancelled within the space of 24 hours. And I think that is something that is going to be happening increasingly with things ramping up and up and up. And we've got a couple of players linked with us immediately following the match against Burnley. And neither of them are super exciting to me, but they're very interesting in terms of indicators as to what we are doing here. So first up, the Whites have inquired into the availability of Matt Targett. Now, Matt Targett is not a player that excites me. I'll be completely honest with that. And let's be honest, very likely a player that doesn't necessarily excite you. He's played something like 4 matches in 2 years. He's been sitting in the reserves for Newcastle. But for me, this is less about we actively want Matt Targett and more we are showing interest in that left-back role. I think he's a left-back at the very least. I know he's defensive and on the wide areas. But this is more of a showing of an interest in the left-back role because, as we know, as a club, we have just lists of players that we're interested in, and Targett's going to be somewhere on that list. And this will be, is he potentially available? Is just going to be somewhere that says, okay, can we strike you off the list? Are you staying on the list? Is there a potential move here for us? Having him on the list doesn't mean we're going to be signing him. But asking the question means that his agent has something to say to, specifically, an actual reliable source this time, which took me by surprise because when Leeds United transfer links happen, they tend to be completely unreliable and out of nowhere, which is But we're in the area of the window where those links are likely to get more solid. And this one came from The Athletic, so you know there's going to be something behind it. In my opinion, what's happened here is Matt Targett has, or his agent has gone to The Athletic and said, Leeds have asked the question, and then you can build a little bit of interest out of that because let's be honest, Matt Targett needs interest in him at the moment. I wouldn't like to sign him, but it's a sign that we're looking at left-backs. In addition to that, we've been reportedly in a conversation about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who is currently linked to us by The Sun. I should have checked where Oxlade-Chamberlain is right now, but I didn't because I'm a silly, silly boy. Let's have a little bit of a scroll just to make sure. In addition to that, Louis Barry probably not coming to us, looking like he's going to be going to Hull instead. He's currently playing over in Turkey, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and it's not one that is super interesting to me either, purely because if you can't get matches in the Super League, odds are you're not going to be getting matches in the Premier League, and we want to be looking at players for when we go up. If we sign him on loan, fantastic. But I think as a permanent deal, that wouldn't be ideal, but this specifically rates to Farke's interest in a number 10 or a more attacking midfielder, which is almost certainly something that we could do with in this window because Aronson had a little bit of a flat one against Burnley. And when neither Aronson or Piru are firing, you've got problems. Could also quite do with the number 9, but we've not been linked with one, as far as I can remember off the top of my head very recently. What we do know is that the next presser will be on Thursday. I'd guess probably 1:30, maybe 2:30. But it's 2 days before the match against Cardiff on Saturday, and I feel like if things are going to be moving at the speed that we feel they're going to be moving at, if Daniel Farke's like, I might have an update if I've not checked my phone in the last 6 hours, we could be going in the right direction. Potentially signings by Cardiff, that would be fantastic. Let's not leave it to the final 2 days of the window, because that's when you get to spooky territory. Although, knowing this stupid club, we're going to try and get something done on the 3rd, which is the final day of the window. But either way, we will be there. I will be doing newsy live streams and newsy videos, and if we work out the specific plane a player is coming over on, I might do a plane watching live stream again. I don't know. That was quite fun. Either way, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, pop a like on it, subscribe, become a channel member, all that fun stuff. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. Toodaloo.